Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and I'm gonna do a video kind of talking about my thoughts on cancel culture, particularly in pop culture and where it's kind of going right now. I just saw that Kevin Sorbo has announced that his Facebook account has been deleted, his official account that has over 500,000 followers. And not long after that, I saw that Tug posted that there's a convention going on that dared to bring in Vic Mignogna, and they've actually had their finances curtailed by Stripe. So I don't know what's going on with that specifically, but it does seem like they're not going to be allowed to take money because we've got people who are, hell-bent on canceling all means of support for certain individuals that have been canceled and anyone who supports them. We're seeing this with Gina Carano for sure. Now, people say that Gina Carano is getting to work with Ben Shapiro now in a new movie, and that's great, except this does kind of feel like, she's being relegated to the conservative ghetto, right? And once you've been targeted for cancellation, your chances of going back to the mainstream are pretty much slim to none. It's been my experience, short of a full-throated apology, and even then you're on the watch list. Once you're canceled, you're pretty much done in the mainstream. So now people do jump ship. We saw this with people working in Comicsgate or whatever. They started doing their own things, but then you see that you get canceled on the financial end too. You're told to go do your own thing, go have your own events, go make your own comic books, go make your own movies, and then when you do it, they try to cut off your revenue. They go to the bank, they complain to the bank, they complain to PayPal, they complain to Kickstarter, they complain to Indiegogo, and it doesn't end. Basically, once you've been canceled, especially if you're working in pop culture, I think, because you're in the public eye, they basically want you homeless in a box on the street so they can take pictures and put them on Twitter and laugh at you being homeless in a box on the street. That is the end goal. That is the end goal of this, is complete and utter destruction of individuals whose political takes or opinions or, maybe them speaking out of turn has gotten them into hot water. And it wasn't that long ago that 99.9% of Hollywood, 99.9% of people working in the entertainment industry in any capacity had skeletons in their own closet. And a lot of times the people that are cheerleading this kind of behavior have a lot of skeletons in their own closet. They're just trying to deflect. Let's go after so-and-so because they're popular, and if people are busy chasing them with pitchforks and torches, they're going to leave me alone, and they're not going to look into my own problematic past or my own problematic tweets or whatever. More often than not, it seems like the biggest cheerleaders have lots of skeletons in their own closet. So I'm just kind of wondering where this is going to end. I've been musing about it somewhat on Twitter that, I naively thought after the election that maybe people would calm the fuck down. Or as our daughter Pinky Boo likes to say, they would calm their tits. Yeah, we let her say it. She's a teenager now. She can say what she wants. But, people aren't. It actually seems like it's increasing, that they're ramping up the cancellation efforts. And for all the people who say that cancel culture is not real, it's in Wikipedia. Wikipedia is actually allowing it to be called a modern form of ostracism. This is like shunning. This is like religious organizations shunning people. You've been shunned. You've been shunned from society for saying the wrong things on social media or being friends with the wrong people. We're going to talk about Kevin Sorbo. Apparently, he's got problematic friendships. And that's part of the reason he's been canceled. We know Dean Cain's been canceled. Again, another conservative. We know that Gina Carano canceled and off to the conservative ghetto of the Daily Wire with her. And is that where things are going to go? Any wrong thinker is going to get pushed off into some ghetto somewhere. And it starts with the more extreme voices like Alex Jones or what, and then they start moving to center. And now even moderates and libertarians are being targeted for cancellation. I mean, it's kind of scary. I think we see it more than other people see it because of the fact that we've been covering this stuff for so many years. But the speed, the haste at which it is escalating, gaining momentum, being more and more acceptable to basically call for somebody to be completely cast out of society is frightening. We should be frightened of this. It doesn't matter if you agree with people or not. You should be very scared that anyone at any point in time can say or do the quote unquote wrong thing and have their livelihood, their social media, their bank account obliterated because of some idiots on Twitter. Usually at the end of the day, that's what it is. And it's a pretty frightening thing. So I'm going to talk about that and talk about the Kevin Sorbo situation before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 176,000 subs. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And we've been talking about this stuff for years. I'm just shocked at how quickly it's happened. And I thought the election would maybe, have everybody calm down. Let's take a step back. Let's work on, trying to get along again. And it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Once people get a taste of blood, and I'm sorry, the cancel culture does come from, I think, primarily Twitter. It never ends, Bounding in the Comics put up that Kevin Sorbo announced that Facebook has deleted his official account with over 500,000 followers. Hercules. Kevin Sorbo, known for his role in Hercules, recently announced that Facebook deleted his official account with over 500,000 followers. He wrote, "Breaking. They deleted my account. I've created a new page. Spread the word." Well, good luck. They're going to go after that too. The Media Research Center reports Facebook did not respond to a request to confirm Sorbo's ban or explain why he was removed from the platform. Sometimes it doesn't take much. Sometimes you get groups of people, again, I think a lot of them from Twitter, they come in and they'll mass flag a page or they'll mass flag a website or they'll mass flag something because they know how to game the system and get somebody banned for dubious reasons. Speaking of Bounding in the Comics, I remember a year and a half ago that they were flagged as being like an alt-right site or something, and they were taken off of Facebook for a couple of days, and Facebook put them back, but didn't tell them what they actually did wrong. I think it's basically they will believe the flagger first, and then they'll circle back around. And if they find out that, yeah, you technically didn't do anything, they'll put you back, but they're not going to apologize or anything. They never apologize. But we're seeing this with news articles too. We've had, some discussion about Pirates and Princesses, which is actually a Disney theme park blog that's been around for a number of years. Well, we've put a couple of posts up that I guess were a little political. And those posts seem to, sometimes hurt the site. It seems like those posts don't get circulated in Google News very much. I don't know if people are like flagging the site or flagging it on Facebook or what's going on. But if you get too political and you're going the wrong direction with it, now you're allowed to be completely political over at the Mary Sue. You can say whatever the hell you want to, and it's going to get aggregated in Google News. But if you say the wrong thing on another website, you'll get sort of backburnered, shadow banned. We've seen it before. And again, I think there are activists at work, especially in journalism, because it's kind of threatening to have other voices out there. They're actively trying to suppress people who they consider to be wrong thinkers, whether or not they actually are. Again, Pirates and Princesses and Clownfish TV, both entities have been around for a number of years. We have a legit business. We do a number of things in addition to YouTube. And, I have to wonder, unfortunately, if the day is going to come where people are going to try to come after that or try to cut off our revenue sources because they don't like our YouTube channel or something. I pray that doesn't happen. As far as I know, we're playing by the rules. And I don't even consider myself a right-winger. I may have said on numerous occasions I wasn't a Trump fan. I consider myself a libertarian. I'm actually a registered libertarian, but it doesn't matter to these people. If you're not one of them And that changes from day to day, mind you. It's never consistent. It changes from day to day. What constitutes being one of them. If you're not one of them, you're against them, and you have to be obliterated. And I guarantee you there are watch lists. There are certain websites and YouTube channels that are on the list. They're being watched, and they're just waiting, kind of like with Gina Carano. They're waiting for you to say the wrong thing so they can push the nuke button. And that's scary because, if you participate in that kind of culture, eventually they're going to turn on you. Eventually you're going to be on the list too. And this is a bunch of people whipped up into a feeding frenzy, trying to keep themselves off of the list, I think. But I think if you really dug into the past of a lot of these people, a lot of the shit that they're supposedly calling out, the problematic behavior, I think you'll find out that they are actually participating in a lot of it too. They just don't want people to know, so they attack other people. So this isn't the first time Sorbo has been canceled. Back in 2018, Cliff Galbraith announced he turned down Kevin Sorbo for his comic convention, East Comic Con. His reasoning was that he's pals with Sean Hannity. I can't do that. Sorbo would respond to this alleged ban on Twitter, saying he wrote, "This is funny and ridiculous. What's even more odd is I've never even heard of this con, nor did my booking." Maybe they can't afford Kevin Sorbo. I don't know. And we're going to talk more about cons because Tug said about Vic Mignogna being problematic now, and if you support him, you're going to apparently have your Stripe account blocked or whatever. He said, "I've never even heard of the East Coast Comic Con. They don't have any A-listers attending. I think they're looking for free publicity." He added, "The left always screams about tolerance and freedom of speech, but it's a one-way street for them." Yeah, I consider myself a left-winger for a good number of years. I did, because freedom of speech was always important to me. Freedom of choice in living your own life, the way that you see fit, was always important to me. And those are things that I thought the left believed in. At one point they did, and I don't think that's the case anymore. Sorbo continued, "I don't get upset with someone having a different point of view." He would then state, "The left gets so angry and they go crazy. What are you going to do? It's what they are." While it's unclear why Sorbo was banned from Facebook, the actor has been quite outspoken in his criticism of the Biden administration. Recently, he posted to Twitter, "Imagine getting $183,000 a year to say circle back 30 plus times a day." He also wrote, "No more kids in cages. Now it's unoccupied migrant children living in overflow facilities. So much better." Yeah, he does, tweet his hot takes. So did Gina Carano. You don't have to agree with what they say. I don't agree with everything that they've said, but you can't say that you believe in freedom of speech and then say, well, we believe in the freedom to express and say whatever we want to, but not these people over here. So speaking of cons, I saw that Tug posted this, that 8-Bit Shinobi announced a convention that would include Vic Mignogna. His convention was brigaded against, attacked, called a platform for hate, and that wasn't enough. He reports that weirdos are going after his payment processor, Stripe. They create nothing, they just ruin. Now, this is actually common. We saw this happen with some people on Patreon. Patreon actually banned individuals that they thought were wrong thinkers or they got complaints about, and they went after their payment processor. They attack them because Stripe doesn't want to deal with this shit, and they're probably feeding them a bunch of horse shit. They're probably like, "They're alt-right Nazis. They're Yazis, and you're giving money. Oh my God, they're inviting the Proud Boys to their comic book convention." Or something like that. That's what So this is what Stripe said to them. Stripe said, "This is a reminder that 8-Bit Shinobi will no longer be able to accept payments through Stripe beginning on 2/14. 2021, that'd be tomorrow. Once again, we're sorry we can't work with your business. If you feel you've received this message in error, please contact us right away." So they're making phone calls to payment processors. They're making phone calls to advertisers. They're making phone calls to banks. We've seen people's bank accounts get shut down. So despite saying, live and let live, that's not actually the case. I mean, if you've got activists that are thoroughly convinced that you are the worst possible thing, you're not allowed to just go to your own corner of the internet and live your life and get your followers and whatever. You have to be destroyed. You have to be completely and utterly destroyed. You have to be living in a cardboard box. They want that picture of you in that cardboard box so they can tweet it And then they're going to tweet the location of you in that cardboard box so they can go dump some gasoline on it and light it on fire. And then I guess after they light the cardboard box on fire, they're going to try to plant a garden in the ashes or something in the street. I don't know. So Tug goes on to say, hey, Stripe, could you please explain why a POC-owned business is, POC-owned business. POC-owned business is defunded after being brigaded against. The owner is harassed, threatened, and abused. Now they can't accept payment or have anyone explain this issue. If it's a mistake, could you kindly rectify the situation? Yeah, and this guy here, Yin, says it's always best to talk to a payment processor admin ahead of time. I gotta wonder for these guys doing Indiegogo who've been sort of displaced from Kickstarter if they don't have a good report with Indiegogo, because, you know, if not, they would be getting all these emails and phone calls from the Twitterati being like, oh my God, why are you publishing those frog books? Don't you know the frogs are racist? Don't publish those frog books. You can't do it. You're literally supporting comic book Hitler. Yeah, and I could totally see them doing it. I'm sure it's happened. You know, I mean, this is where we're at, guys. And the thing is nobody asked for this. You know, nobody asked to be thrown into the middle of a culture war. And it just happened. It showed up on a lot of people's doorsteps. I mean, we never ever intended to get involved in any of this stuff, you know, and people keep saying, well, like, you're just a bunch of grifters. No, not really. Because like I said, we have other business interests that we could lose, you know, if the cancel mob came after us. And it's true. Why would we risk that? You know, it just, the war comes to your door. You don't have a choice sometimes. You get dragged into it kicking and screaming, but the other option is you let them drag you out of your house and throw you in that cardboard box and light it on fire, you know? And it's sad that this is where we're at. I'm really heartbroken. I am. You know, Geeky and I talk about how we would love to just make comics and cartoons and cool stuff and have fun and not talk about this stuff. I would love to not talk about this stuff. It's depressing as hell. Every day we wake up and it's like, what are people outraged about now? You know, I would like to interview cool people. I would like to just make stuff. I don't want to do these kinds of videos anymore. But, you know, they bring the war to your door. What do you do? Yeah, you know, but you have to fight back in some capacity. I think you can do some stuff to try to minimize, you know, the harassment somewhat. But then that usually results in you just keeping your damn mouth shut, not saying anything and not having any opinions. It's kind of well, look at Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt tries to stay out of things and they still harass him. You know, he doesn't give an answer and they harass him for not giving an answer. Gina Carano doesn't put pronouns in her bio, even though tons of other Lucasfilm employees don't have pronouns in their bio, and they harass her for it because they know she's a wrong thinker. And they're not going to stop until everybody is completely, all of who they consider to be their political enemies are taken out of play. You know, it's scary. This is not America. I don't know what the hell we're turning into, but this is not the America I grew up with anymore. It feels more and more like we're living in China or something. It's really scary. I'm gonna wrap it up. You know, I'm just musing. I'm frustrated. I see this every day and it's really frustrating. I'm gonna wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.